Hello, and welcome. Tonight we step into a smoky London flat, the curtains half drawn, a cup of strong tea cooling beside you, and the telly humming softly with late-night commercials. Then it happens. She appears. A woman, no, a presence, glides onto the screen, in a Maxwell House coffee ad, eyes calm as moonlight, skin like honeyed bronze, voice smoother than the jazz playing in the next room. You don't know her name, but you know you're in trouble. The kind of trouble no bloke gets out of with dignity. You shift in your seat. You're too old for crushes, too jaded for fairy tales, but still, you rewind it, watch it again. Again, I'm going to marry that girl, you say aloud, as if the walls care. Before we begin, if these stories resonate with you, feel free to like the video and subscribe, only if it truly speaks to your heart. And tell us where you're watching from. What time is it where you are? Let the room grow quiet, the lights grow soft, and together, we'll drift into this evening's story, slow and steady. It's 1971, and you're Michael Caine. You've just come off a Bond audition, been mobbed in Rome, dodged the press, and now, this woman. No film role, no Oscar, no red carpet moment ever hit like this. To this day, folks still wonder how one coffee commercial rewrote your life story. The historical part. British advertising had begun importing international faces to sell to wider markets, a trend that unknowingly changed your destiny. The quirky bit, you call over your mates just to make them watch the ad. 6 grown men rewinding a tape like lovesick teens. Because tonight, a heart cracks open, and once it does, there's no going back. You barely sleep that night. The coffee commercial loops in your brain like a broken record. Her smile, her voice. The way she seemed completely unaware of how captivating she was. By morning, your tea's gone cold again, and so has your sense of pride. You're a major movie star, for heaven's sake. But here you are pacing the floor like you're back in grammar school, with a crush on the headmistress's niece. So what do? You get the name of the ad agency. You ring them up and ask who she is. They say her name is Shakira Baksh, Guyanese British, a model actress, and yes, single. But she's in Brazil at the moment, working. Brazil. You haven't been, but suddenly it's the only place you want to be. You book a ticket, faster than you've ever agreed to a movie script, fueled by nothing but infatuation, and a vague idea that love, real love, shouldn't wait. It's 1971 again, and the Concorde is being tested. The Cold War simmers, and across the Atlantic, you, a full-grown man, are sweating through customs with flowers and a hopeless case of nerves. To this day, folks still wonder if it was impulse or fate that put you on that plane. The quirky detail. You pack 3 suits, not because you plan to impress her, but because you're terrified you'll spill something on the first 2. You land, step into the humid heat, and suddenly realize you might have just flown 5,000 miles to be politely rejected in a language you don't speak. And still, you don't turn around, because when a heart knows, it knows. And yours, it's already halfway home. You meet her. Finally, no camera crew, no stage lights, no backdrop of pouring coffee, just her. Shakira opens the door with a curious smile that flickers somewhere between caution and amusement, and your knees go soft like overcooked spaghetti. She's even more beautiful in real life, but it's something else that knocks the air out of your lungs. It's the way she looks at you like you're just a man, not a matinee idol. You fumble through your introduction. Her accent is elegant, her manner reserved. You offer dinner, she agrees. And just like that, the trip becomes the smartest decision you ever made. The evening's a gentle unraveling. You don't talk movies. You don't talk fame. You talk about books, about growing up poor, about how much both of you hate parties but love quiet. You tell her about your Cockney roots and how being knighted never changed your tastes in fish and chips. She tells you about growing up in Guyana, about Bollywood dreams, and how London sometimes feels like a borrowed coat. Lovely, but not quite hers. Somewhere between dessert and the bill, you realize you're not just charmed, you're leveled. The wall around your heart, the one that held back every tabloid relationship before, crumbles like a sandcastle at high tide. To this day, folks still debate what made her say yes to that second date. Maybe it was your laugh. Maybe it was the way you didn't name drop or brag. Or maybe it was that you actually listened. One quirky bit. You never told her what movie you were working on. She had to Google you later, and she wasn't impressed. You were just Michael, a man who flew too far just to sit across from someone he couldn't stop thinking about. Weeks turn into months, and you're not exactly used to playing it slow. But with her, every day feels like a rediscovery. She doesn't ask for limelight or red carpets. She prefers garden centers and strong coffee. And she never tries to fix you, even when you mumble through your thoughts or spend 3 hours choosing socks. She grounds you. Not in a ball and chain way, but like an anchor to a ship that's drifted too long. You move in together, quietly. No press release, no velvet rope. She paints, tends to her flowers, and leaves little notes around the house in both English and Hindi. You realize your best days aren't on set. They're spent listening to her hum while slicing mangoes in the kitchen. You used to live for applause. Now, you live for those 10 seconds before she turns and catches you watching her from the hallway. Here's the wild twist. The world barely noticed. In an industry that gorges itself on scandal, your love story was considered, well, boring. To this day, folks still wonder how you avoided the headlines, how you dodged the usual detours, rehab, affairs, dramatic telos, but you had her. One historical gem. While the 70s were exploding with disco, glam rock, and studio feuds, you were learning how to fold laundry properly. That's how the real ones survive, by choosing life offstage. A quirky tidbit. Shakira once joked, she only married you because you looked confused at airports and needed supervision. You didn't argue. She was right. And every time someone calls you lucky, you just smile. Because you didn't win her in a poker game. You earned her, one quiet, ordinary day at a time. Years slip into decades, but she still looks at you like you're the same lanky man who knocked on her door with sweaty palms and a desperate hope. The world shifts, Technicolor becomes streaming, your friends retire, and your body reminds you more often these days that time isn't on your side. But somehow, her presence makes you feel timeless. You still hold her hand when you cross the street. Not because she needs you to, but because it feels unnatural not to. Every morning she lays out your vitamins with the precision of a scientist and the care of someone who's watched too many stubborn men ignore doctors. You joke she's your live-in miracle. She jokes that you're her aging intern. One mainstream fact. You receive your knighthood in 2000, a polished sir in the Queen's service. But the real coronation happens each evening, in your modest home, when she asks how your day went and actually listens. No cameras, no curtain call. And here's the thing. People still debate how a man who rose from South London poverty to Oscar-winning stardom avoided the ego traps. To this day, folks still wonder what your secret was. The truth. You married someone who didn't care about the trophies. She cared about your soul. Remember that time she handed you her homemade curry, spicy enough to light your eyebrows on fire? You pretended you were fine. She saw right through it, handed you a cold glass of milk, and laughed for a solid 5 minutes. That laugh still echoes through the years. And now, as the world slows, she's still there, folding your sweaters, sipping her tea, saying your name like it's the only one that ever mattered. As the sun sinks behind the curtains and the final echoes of the day give way to hush, you find yourself leaning into the quiet. The air softens. The ache in your bones eases. The room holds the two of you like a well-worn quilt, faded in places, patched with memory, but impossibly warm. She hums while fluffing a pillow. You reach for the lamp switch, and for just a second, everything else, the movies, the flights, the tuxedos, the applause, fades into background static. All that remains is her, just her, the woman you flew across the world for. If this story warmed your heart or reminded you of your own journey, we'd be honored if you gave it a like and subscribed to stay with us for more gentle tales made just for you. Take care of yourself, rest easy, and may tomorrow bring peace, warmth, and maybe even a good laugh. Good night, dear friends.